Hello everyone, welcome to your session. So your UGC exam is about approaching and you all have, I guess you all have finished your preparation, right? And now you are practicing more and more of previous year questions. You all must have completed your revision also by now. And in order to help you with the practicing of previous year questions, I'm going to discuss a few previous year questions with you in today's session, in this session, so that you can also see that how well you have prepared by now and how the questions are going to be in your exam, what is the level of the questions and what are the things that you should keep in mind while solving out those questions. So in this session today, I'm going to discuss a few questions on mathematical reasoning with you, right? The topics of mathematical reasoning that we have studied, like questions on number series, letter series, coding, decoding, directions, blood relations, right? Uh, I have already completed a few sessions with you, right? And today I wanted to discuss some more questions with you so that I can give you a very clear idea that how the questions are in your exam. And one more thing that I would like to tell you, by watching these sessions, right? These sessions actually gives you a very clear idea that if you are solving a question, whether your answer is correct or not. Plus, if your answer is correct, please make sure, sir, that you do analyze this also, that what was your approach and what was mine, right? Was your approach was similar to mine or somehow they were different? If somehow they were different, which one you feel was better, right? Your or mine? Because if you feel that yours approach was better, I would suggest that please go with that, right? This is not the time that you change your approach, right? If you are comfortable with the approach and if that approach is taking 10 to 15 seconds more than mine, that's absolutely okay, because in the exam, right, if you are comfortable with your approach in the exam, that time, that 10-15 seconds of extra time is somehow going to be compensated, because you will be at your full concentration at that time, right? So somehow your speed would be more than the usual one. So don't worry about that. Make sure that you should be very clear with your approach and everything, right? And the normal practice that we follow, that after a question I give you a few seconds to solve it, so that you can see whether your answer was correct or not, right? What was the approach and everything, right? Today also we are going to follow the same practice, right? So try to solve these questions in parallel with me so that you get a very clear idea about them. All right. So without further ado, as this is our last lap, so let's see, right, what are the questions that we are going to discuss in this class. So this is my question: if the series 4, 5, 8, 13, 14, 17, 22 is continued in the same pattern, then which one of the following is not a term of this series? So this is a number series question. Please read the question carefully, right, and solve it. But again, I'm saying please read the question carefully. Which one of the following is not a term of this series? That means here you are not finding out the missing term, but you are finding out the term which cannot follow in this series. That means you have to solve this series, right, beyond the term which is about you have to find, because, right, somehow this question is similar to the wrong term, but here instead of finding out the wrong term, you have to find out the term from the options which cannot be in this series. I guess by now you must have solved this. Now see, if I see this series 4, 5, 8, 13, 14, 17, 22, right? As I move from left to right, I can see that my numbers are increasing. And when I taught you number series, I taught you that number series is of 6 types. And this particular question can be from one of those 6 types, right? But I can see that this is not a prime number series, right? Because not every number is prime number. 8 is not prime, 14 is not prime, 22 is not prime. So this is not a prime number series. Second thing, this is not a geometric series because here 17 is prime, 13 is prime, 5 is prime. You can multiply anything, but even you multiply anything in 4, you can never reach 5. You'll never get 5 because 5 is not a multiple of 4, right? Similarly, 17 is not a multiple of 14. So this is not a geometric series, right? Arithmetico, geometrico, we are not sure about that. So first we are going to apply whether this series is arithmetic or not. But this series can be arithmetic. And when the series is of arithmetic nature, so there, if the series is increasing from left to right, there will be an addition factor involved between the terms, and the addition factor is nothing but the difference between two consecutive terms. So here the difference between 4 and 5 is 1, so addition factor would be 1. Here the difference between 5 and 8 is 3, so here the addition factor is 3. Here between 8 and 13 the difference is 5, so here the addition factor is 5. So now the difference is the addition factor is working in this pattern 1 3 5. Let's see what is my other factor. From 13 to 14 the addition factor is 1. Now addition factor again got 1, and from 14 to 17 the addition factor became 3. So somehow now I can tell that my addition factor is behaving in the pattern 1 3 5 1 3, and now next should be 5. From 17, if you add 5, you are going to get this 22. That means your addition factor is behaving in this pattern 135 135. So now from 22 the next addition factor would be again 1, 22 plus 1 23. From 23 the next addition factor would be at the next addition factor would be plus 3, 23 plus 3, my next term would be 26. From 26 the addition factor would be plus 5, right? So my term would be 31. So 31 is going to be in this series. I have to find the term which will not be in this series. Now after 135, my next addition factor would be 1, 31 plus 1, 32. So 32 will also be in my series, and from 32 my next addition factor would be plus 3, 32 plus 3, my next term would be 35. So 35 will also be in this series. That means 33 will be the term which is not in this series. So my answer would be 33. Please see this. You have to find, as I told you, that you have to go beyond the terms, right? Because you have to solve it for many terms, because the question was out of the following, right? From the following 4 options, which term cannot be in this series? All right. So this was a good question as per me. Now let's see what was our answer. Right. It was C, 33. All right. That means we were correct. Now let's move on to the next question. Complete the series BBFEII. This is IIMLPP by choosing one of the following options given. All right, we have to find the term. So we need our ABCD. And I told you that writing out the pattern for ABCD is fixed. You should write your ABCD in this pattern. Try and solve this. I'll wait for some time. I guess by now you must have completed this. So now if I see this series, it was B, B, then F, E, then I and I, then M and L, then P and P. All right. And now I have to find the next term. So here, if I see this between B and F, let's see what was the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a gap of 4 letters. Right. Let's find out the gap from first letter to first letter of the next term. All right. From F to I, 1, 2, 3. It was plus 3. From I to M, 1, 2, 3, 4. It was plus 4. And from M to P, 1, 2, 3, it was plus 3. See, from first letter to the first letter of next term, right, the gap was behaving in alternate sequence, plus 4, plus 3, plus 4, plus 3. So now for the next term, the first letter would be at plus 4 gap. So from P at a plus 4 gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, it should be T. And how many options start with T? Only one option starts with T. So my answer would be option A. Let's see whether our answer was correct. Yes, absolutely correct. But since we are at learning phase, I'm going to tell you about the gap of second letter also. See, from B to E, the gap was 1, 2, 3 plus 3 letters. From E to I, the gap was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 letters. From I to L, the gap was 1, 2, 3, 3 letters. From L to P, the gap was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 letters. From P, again the gap would be plus 3, right? So 1, 2, 3, it would be S. So my answer would be TS. Please see to this. All right. I guess by now you must have seen. I already shown you the answer. So let's move on to the next question. Try this one. We have to find the next term in the series. For this also, we need our ABCD. Here every term has 3 letters. Based on to that, you have to find the next term. I guess by now you must have completed this. I'll still give you 10 seconds. Till then, I'm going to copy the question. All right, I guess let's see what was the correct answer. Right, that was option C. See whether you got it correct or not. If not, please see the solution. Right, so now for every term, right, let's start with their first letter. So we are going to find the gap between first letter, uh, from first letter to the first letter of next term. Here from A to D, the gap is 1, 2, 3. 3 letters as we are moving in clockwise order. So the gap would be plus 3. From D to H, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the gap is plus 4 as we are moving in clockwise sequence. From H to M, so the gap would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we are moving in clockwise sequence, the gap would be plus 5. So here I can see that every time my gap is increasing with 1 in clockwise sequence. From M to S, the gap is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 6. So from S, right, at plus 7 gap, because every time the gap is increasing, right? So plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, plus 7. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It would be Z. And you can see all the options were starting with Z. Because we are at learning phase, we are going step by step. Even I could have skipped this first letter because all of my 4 options were starting with Z. So instead of finding out the logic for the first letter, I would have taken out the second letter, right? But second letter is also K, so I would go with third letter, but third letter is U. So I can eliminate only 2 options. I have to solve for second and third letter, right? Otherwise, I would not be able to solve. So here in this question, you have to find the sequence for every other letter. Similarly, from B to G, let's see what was the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we are moving in clockwise sequence, so here the gap would be plus 5. From G to M, right, let's see what was the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be plus 6. From M to T, right, what was the gap? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From T, here also the gap is increasing with 1 every time. So from T to B, the gap should be plus 8. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is plus 8. And from B at plus 9 gap, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. All right. Now from third letter to third letter, see from D to K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This was a plus 7 gap. From K to S, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is plus 8. Again, the gap is increasing with 1, right? From S to B, let's see the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. From B to L, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now the gap should be plus 11. From L at a plus 11 gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. W, it would be W. So my answer would be ZKW, option C. And that was your answer, ultimate answer. Please see the solution. All right, let's move on to the next question. This is also based on letter series. Find the next term. I guess by now you must have finished. So let me copy the question. dy jx ow sv vu, and now find the next term. All right. So now let's see what logic we can build over here. From D to J, somehow if we can find the logic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is at a gap of plus 6. So from first letter to the first letter of next term, the gap was plus 6. From J to O, from first letter to first letter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was, sir, at a plus 5 gap. From first letter to next first letter, so from O to S, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, the gap is decreasing by 1. Right, plus 6, plus 5, plus 4. Now let's see whether the next gap was plus 3 or not. From S to V, the gap was plus 3 or not. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it was plus 3. So next gap should be plus 2. Plus 2. Right, 1, 2. Sorry, it would be X. And we have two options that start with X. Right, so let's find out the logic of the second letter. From Y to X, so the gap is minus 1. We are moving now in reverse order, in an anti-clockwise order. So, sir, the gap would be negative. From X to W, right, again minus 1 gap. From W to V, again minus 1 gap. From V to U, again minus 1 gap. And from U at a minus 1 gap, it would be T. So, XT would be the answer. XT would be the answer. So, this is how we are going to do. Please see to this solution. I'll give you 10 seconds. All right. Let's see what was our answer. C. Let's move on to the next question. Solve this. If A is coded as C, M as I, N as P, S as O, I as A, P as N, E as M, O as E, and C as S, then the code of companies will be. So you have to find the code for the word companies using the given codes. Let's write like this. A is coded as C. This is the word, this is the code. On the right side, we have code. M as I, N as P, S as O, I as A, P as N, E as M, O as E, and C as S. Based on these codes, we have to see what was the code for the word companies. See, for C, the code was S, not C. A is coded as C. It is not written that C is coded as A. So don't think the code for A, if the code for A is C, then the code for C would be A as well. No, right? That is not the case. A is coded as C, not C is coded as A, because C is coded as S. It is clearly said that C is coded as S. So the code for C would be S, right? Then O is coded as E. So the code for O would be E, right? E as M, E is coded as M, right? O is coded as E. Here it was given that S was coded as O, S was coded as O, not O was coded as S, because O was coded as E, right? Make sure about that, you get this concept as well. M was coded as I, P was coded as N, A was coded as C. See how easy it became, because if we were about to find the codes from this line, somehow we are going to get confused. So that's why I written the code in vertical order, right? So that I don't get confused. N is coded as P, so it will be P. I is coded as A, so it will be A. E is coded as M, so it will be M. And S is coded as O, so it will be O. So now my answer would be SEINCPAMO. See, and what was the answer? It was option D only. See for yourself. All right. So I guess by now you must have seen. So this is the case where we have seen some of the questions based on mathematical reasoning, right? And I hope all these questions, you were able to solve all these questions, right, in a time efficient way. If somehow your answers gone wrong, I would request you that please see these solutions and please take a look that where exactly you went wrong. Somehow make the correction, somehow make the adjustments, right? If there was a calculation mistake, right, see that you don't repeat them again, right? And I guess now, uh, after seeing these many questions, because I have taken multiple sessions on this, right, you all must be feeling very confident for your exam, because you can see that the questions are not different from what we have studied in the classroom. So keeping in view with that, uh, I would wish you all the luck for your upcoming exam, and I will pray that all of you get success very soon and the desired success that you have hoped for. So I'm going to keep this session till here, right? And in the next session, I'm going to discuss some few more questions based on some new concepts, right? Till then, thank you for watching this session and keep learning, keep smiling.